For Comedy Hype News, I'm Wellington Ojukwu. A comedian's life isn't always funny. They go through hardships in life just like anyone else, and some of these hardships are written into their act, and that's how they cope with the pain. From Richard Pryor freebasing to the horrific car accidents that Tracy Morgan and Kevin Hart were involved in. These were jaw-dropping moments we hope weren't true when we heard about them. We here at Comedy Hype created a list of some of the comedians who almost lost their life early on in their career. First on our list is legendary comedian Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory wasn't just a comedian and social critic. He was also a civil rights activist. He ran for mayor in 1967 and ran for president the following year. When Gregory arrived at Watts Rebellion riots in Los Angeles in August 1965, he said, "The first thing I saw was a 9-year-old black boy crying over the body of his father. The LAPD, the National Guard, were lined up. They were ready to shoot on sight. Gregory walked through the front rank towards the police and was shot in the leg. I was hit, but I kept on walking. I yelled out, 'All right, goddammit, you shot me. Now go home.'" In 2000, Gregory was diagnosed with lymphoma. He changed his diet to herbs and vitamins and began exercising more instead of going through chemotherapy. The disease went into remission a few years later. Gregory passed away in August 2017 from heart failure at 84. One of the most famous stories about Richard Pryor is when he set himself on fire while freebasing cocaine. On June 9, 1980, the comedian poured 151 proof rum all over his body, set himself on fire, and ran down the streets of California until the firefighters caught up with him and put out the flames. Pryor was taken to the hospital and treated for 2nd and 3rd degree burns that covered more than half of his body. Pryor was given a 1 in 3 chance to live, but he ended up surviving and spent 6 weeks in the hospital before he was released. Pryor made fun of the incident in his 1982 film, Live on Sunset Strip. Pryor eventually died in December 2005 after a long battle with MS at the age of 65. In December 2017, Lil Duval sat down with us here at Comedy Hype and told us about the time he almost drowned in Jamaica. In the interview, Duval talked about how he loved traveling, but one time he ended up getting stuck in a cave because he went the wrong way.
I think you're talking about was when I went to Jamaica and I tried to dive in this cave and I got stuck in the cave because I went the wrong way. And that's what happened. I dove. I've done it before. That's why I thought I could do it again. Because I'd done it before and I went right through. But this time I did it. I think the difference was I was high this time. Well, I was high that time too. I don't know. But anyway, I was high this time. So I dove down and I went swimming and I couldn't find the hole and I hit my head. And then I said, oh shit. And I turned around and hit my head that way. I turned around and hit my head that way. I'm like, oh shit, I'm stuck. But then I realized I didn't have my eyes open. That whole fucking time I didn't have my motherfucking eyes open. So I opened my eyes, and by that time I was damn near didn't have that, because I was doing this all for one breath. Yeah. So I just went wherever I saw the light. And when I saw the light, it took me right back where I came. So really I hadn't gone nowhere. Yeah. I just kept bumping in the same places instead of going down this one little tunnel. And that's where, so open your eyes when you go underwater.
This is yet another incident we're thankful Duval was able to come out of the situation alive. On June 7, 2014, Tracy Morgan was passenger when his vehicle was hit from behind by a tractor trailer owned by Walmart. The crash killed Tracy's friend, James McNair. Morgan was taken to the hospital with a broken leg, femur, nose, and a few broken ribs. The driver of the Walmart truck allegedly fell asleep while driving and hit Morgan's car after swerving to avoid traffic coming towards him. It was also reported that the driver had been awake for more than 24 hours before the crash. In July 2014, Morgan sued Walmart for negligence. Reports said that Tracy received around $90 million in the settlement. In September 2019, Kevin Hart got into a car accident in one of his classic cars. The car wound up in a ditch after it went off the road. The car smashed through a wooden fence and the roof of the car was completely crushed. Kevin wasn't driving the car at the time, but 2 other people were in the car with him. Kevin suffered major back injuries and was immediately taken to the hospital. 3 months later, Kevin was a guest on Ellen DeGeneres' show, talked about the accident and revealed his biggest accomplishment. "I started showering by myself, I started dressing by myself, and the biggest triumph is when I put on my socks. You couldn't tell me nothing when I put my socks on. It was the biggest thing in the world." In September 2000, John Hinton was another comedian who got into a near-death car accident. The accident destroyed his left eye socket, shattered both his legs, and broke several teeth. Hinton had been drinking that night and was driving at least 100 miles per hour during the drive home. Hinton's injuries were so bad his agents had to go get pictures from his home so plastic surgeons could use them to rebuild his face. Next, we've got Mark Curry. From hanging with Mr. Cooper, on April 17, 2006, a tragic incident would occur. During a routine laundry run, an aerosol spray can fell behind the water heater. Curry said the can hit a metal bracket connected to the heater and exploded. The blow sent Curry flying 10 feet, covered him in flames. The accident left Curry with third-degree burns over 18% of his body. It blew me back through the door to another room while I was on fire. I screamed. My sister came running to me, put me out. I looked down. I knew the severity of the situation, but I was able to calm down and call 911. They kept asking me questions like, what type of fire was it? A hot one. Where were you burned? Does it make a difference if it's my leg or my knee? Just get here. I got a lot of material from this thing. Almost a year after the accident, Curry was interviewed on Montel Williams' show where he told the audience he thought about committing suicide because of the pain. The incident left him in a 3-day medically caffeinated coma. It was so bad, that pain was so excruciating that I just threw it out. Curry's plan was to hoard a pain of medication and overdose on it. However, it was comedians like Bill Cosby and Sinbad that came to Curry's aid. They made me laugh and they helped a lot, Curry said. Finally, Garrett Morris, most known as Stanley from Martin and for being the first black cast member on Saturday Night Live, was shot in a mugging back in February 1994 in central Los Angeles. Morris went through surgery where the doctor said was expected to survive shots that were on his chest and arm. Morris was walking to his car when 2 men approached and demanded money. Morris told them he didn't have any cash, and in response, one of the men fired 2 shots and they both ran. But thank God he survived and lived. Stay up to date with the latest news and comedy by subscribing here to the YouTube channel and follow Comedy Hype across all social media. For Comedy Hype News, I'm Wellington Ojukwu.